What? The cloud.
Oh, welcome back. It's been a long time coming, but we're back again, baby. We're back. It's been a
In the
while,
New York groove.
something like that. I'm coming back. We're back.
I
Woo!
want
It's
the
been a
world to
minute.
know.
I've got to let it show. I'm coming. Diana Ross, baby. And we are the Supremes. Welcome, welcome back to the show. Oh man, it was a confluence of schedule conflicts and COVID that held us back for the past couple of weeks, but we have made a triumphant return to your earbuds. This is just for you, Mr. Listener. Coming at you back again. Did you miss us? Probably not.
No. I can assure you, no.
I did miss our twice a week time together though, Corwin, I must say.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That was nice. That was always nice.
I don't miss waiting 20 minutes for you to actually join the meeting invites I send you, but I did miss spending time with you.
Deserve it. I'll take that. Yep.
Yeah, I send them to you hours in advance.
I think that's the problem. I think you need to send them right at 5.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, welcome back to the show. It is the Thursday episode of the show. As you're listening to this, we're recording this 5:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. And because we missed a couple weeks, the NFL regular season wrapped up. We had playoffs, playoff teams, and then we had the first round of the playoffs, the wild card games. So far, every team except for the 1 seeds in the AFC and NFC, which are in this case the Titans and the Packers, have played at least one playoff game so far. There are results. There are new matchups. There's a whole bunch of shit. Corbin, you want to start with how the wild card weekend went?
No, sure.
Well, when it comes to the wild card, I suppose, or the playoffs, I suppose it is still something of a treat to get disappointed because it means your team at least made it, which one of us can say, although your team did get their shit absolutely just shoved in after they made their first score. So since we're talking about it to start, might as well just keep going. The Chiefs booty blasted the Pirates, the Steelers, 42-21. The Steelers put up 7, and then the Chiefs answered back with what I think was like 45 straight. And then the Steelers were like, no, we're still here, and scored a very squeaky 2 more touchdowns because I guess you have to. You can't just be like, fuck it, whatever. You guys win. We get it, and walk off the field. You have to finish the game. So they kept trying.
Ooh, he's trying.
Oh, he's trying. And plus it was Big Ben's last game, so you got to do something for that. But not a good showing.
Dance of Mary Jane. No, that was I don't know how I want to put this. Bad. That was bad. I took a picture of the 7-0 score just so I could have that.
I saw that you sent it to me on Snapchat the next day, and I was like, ooh, man, if only Corwin of when this picture was taken knew what was about to happen.
Fuck. I mean, look, we all knew exactly how that was going to play out.
Yeah.
Never say never, but never. I would have loved for it to be a Cinderella story of like one last playoff victory, underdog tale, David takes on Goliath, Big Ben, one last hurrah. But at the end of the day, it's a very clear picture of which team was just going to eviscerate the other one. And it wasn't 39-year-old Ben Roethlisberger who can throw a fucking ball 25 yards max. But hey, there's always next year.
Yeah, cute telling yourself that. Yeah, it was probably the best looking game that I've seen of Kansas City so far this season. Granted, I don't watch a lot of their games, but they had a small losing stretch early on in the season, and people have talked greatly about Patrick Mahomes being figured out by opposing team defenses and defensive coordinators, and how some of his tricks and the tricks of the Kansas City offense have been done enough that there's been enough repetition, there's enough film that they have been conquered. And the Steelers, for all of their issues on offense, are not like a poor defensive team. You know, TJ Watt just tied the all-time sack record, which we'll talk about more come award season. But to see them get dismantled the way that they did, I think really maybe speaks more to Kansas City than it does against Pittsburgh, especially in this instance. So it'll also be interesting to see if Kansas City can carry that throughout the playoffs, because again, one of the big storylines from this season has been, we know who they are now.
Yeah. On that note, if TJ Watt does not win Defensive Player of the Year, I will burn.
What was that, Aaron Donald?
Ground.
What?
I will burn
Aaron
this
Donald.
thing.
I'm hearing Aaron Donald.
Burn it to the ground.
Speaking of 7 seeds getting their shit rocked, let's just pop on over to the other 7 seed matchup from this past wildcard week. And that was the Eagles taking on the Bucks. And I didn't really care who won like the Chiefs Steelers game. I think I passively would root for the Chiefs, but I really don't give a shit. With this game, I'm rooting for the Eagles because how do you root for Tom?
Everyone is rooting for the exact same reason, you know?
Right. I respect the shit out of Tom Brady at this point. We've talked about it on the show before. He has earned my respect finally, and that's all that matters is my respect. And still, fuck the guy. Like, I don't fucking like him. I don't like his stupid fucking face. I don't like the fact he wins all these goddamn football games. And to see them get
stupid fucking face.
See them just get rocked. I mean, like, because that game happened first too. That preceded the Steelers Chiefs game, and I know that the score difference is about the same. The Steelers lost by 21. The Eagles lost by 16. The Eagles loss feels like it was way bigger,
which is wild because the Steelers scored 2 garbage time touchdowns to make that score a 21-point game. But at least it started the first quarter feeling like the Steelers had a chance. Like they were winning the game. The Eagles just looked lost from the start. And even though it was by all means, better, showing points-wise, it just felt lost from the beginning. At no point did you think the Eagles could do it.
No, and it's like you said, the Steelers scored first, and they scored in 3 consecutive quarters, 2, 3, and 4, 7 points apiece. The Eagles did not score in this game until the fourth quarter when they put up 2 touchdowns. So they got outscored. They got outscored 31-0. And then in garbage time in the late goings, managed to scrape together 2 touchdowns. In literally the last 12 minutes of the game, Boston Scott had a 34-yard rushing touchdown at the 12:08 mark in the fourth quarter. And then Kenneth Gainwell got a 16-yard reception for a touchdown at the 4:45 mark. Like really just squeaking them in there at the end.
Just completely meaningless stats. It's the Blake Bortles of games.
Matt Stafford, Lions era, absolutely. And so it leaves like Jalen Hurts with this wacky ass stat line, which is not good by any means, of 43 attempts. That's a number. 23 completions for 258 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, only sacked twice, which, man, it feels like more. And a quarterback rating of 60. His counterpart, Tom Brady, 37 attempts, 29 receptions or completions, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, got sacked 4 times, a quarterback rating of 115.2.
I'm just so fucking annoyed with how good Tom Brady is at 49 billion years old. Is he? He's not 49. I know that, but like, was he 43 now?
No, he's actually 50 at this point. Every time you mention Tom Brady's age, he gets a little older.
He gets a year. He gets a day every time someone mentions
he is 44
anyway.
years young. Fuck you. 44. Dude's a Gen Xer.
Oh, hate that.
Man, we got Gen Zers in the NFL now, and there's a Gen Xer, not even a millennial. It's a Gen Xer going out there talking about back in my day.
We have people born in the 2000s in the NFL, and Tom Brady's old enough to be my dad.
Yeah, I know, man.
I don't like it.
It's not a good. Tom Brady is getting thrown around in Twitter a lot the other day. Tom Brady is older than every remaining head coach in the NFC.
What?
Yeah, Sean McVay's like 35. Matt LaFleur's like 42. Who else is left? You had to take out Bruce Arians. That was his team. And then it was like, God, I don't remember who all these people are. I don't care. Kyle Shanahan's not that old. Like he's older than everybody.
This has to be in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, in the playoffs. Every remaining team in the NFC, barring the Bucks.
I was like looking it up, like, did Pete Carroll get fired or retire or die? Like, what the fuck is going on?
All three in that order.
Yeah.
He got fired, announced his retirement, and immediately kicked the bucket.
No,
the way
you
the
can't
American
fire
capitalist
me.
system
I quit.
The way the American capitalist system wants you to behave. You're fired. No, I quit, so I can't collect unemployment. Actually, I'm dead. Yeah.
I don't like it when we speak these truths and word them like jokes.
We are the people's podcast, but the people are very sad and underpaid. It's amazing more people don't listen to this garbage.
God. I know.
Anyway, yeah, it was a very disinteresting game, honestly, for both teams. Both teams went in as a 2 seed for the Chiefs and the Bucks, so they're obviously very good. They just barely missed out on being the 1 seed, obviously. And it really didn't make the case for expanding the playoffs, like, at all. And that's part of the idea of best seed plays the worst seed, is that the likelihood of the better seed advancing is very, very high, because you want the best teams to continue. And the only way that team wouldn't continue is if they were secretly bad the whole time and got their shit rocked by a bad team, which may or may not be what some people might be expecting for the Tennessee Titans game this weekend. But regardless, this did not make that case. Both of these were two of the probably 3 biggest blowouts of the week. Well, we'll get to it. But either way, neither game was especially interesting, really, from the word go. The Pittsburgh Steelers made a better argument for themselves, but it quickly devolved into madness.
I watched the full game because it's Big Ben's last. But I pulled up a second stream with golf after halftime. It wasn't a game I enjoyed watching.
I read a book. I read 100 pages of Mel Brooks's memoir.
Any good jokes?
Yeah, it's Mel Brooks. Kel asked me the same thing. She was like, any good stories? I'm like, yeah, it's a fucking memoir. That's why he wrote the goddamn book. It's all good stories.
I could just see, just as a joke, Mel Brooks's entire memoir is just like, and then Tuesday, January 13th, I did nothing. Wednesday, January 14th, I went for a walk. It was sunny. January 15th. It's the most mundane bullshit.
It's just dry. A textbook of like movie industry accounting.
Movie accounting as real as the NFL salary cap.
Oh God. Yeah. A different conversation, but yeah, it was not I was secretly a little bit. I felt a twang in my heart, hoping that the Chiefs would just be like, we're up by 21. Let's let them score on the end of this drive. And then they just didn't. And it felt so awkward when the game ended. Like, the game ended, and even the commentators were starting to like hype it up a little bit. Like, the Steelers are driving. What a cool, great way it would be for Big Ben to go out with a touchdown pass, and then time expires after a pass gets deflected, I think, at like the 20 or some shit. And it just felt so deflating because the commentators were trying to keep you interested in the game by building this thing up. And then it was just like, and Chiefs win. See you fuckers later.
I got nothing. I've got nothing to add to this. I have nothing to say. It's just like Big Ben got one final passing touchdown in the playoffs, and that's really all I can really hope and pray for, you know.
It's true. He made the playoffs in his last season. That's an accomplishment. You'll remember that a lot more than you will the horrendousness of this loss. But anyway, speaking of anticlimactic ends to games, there was a little bit of controversy when the San Francisco 49ers beat the Dallas Cowboys by a single score 23-17. Early, I guess actually, I think they were the middle of the day game. One of the fucking games on Saturday. Sunday? Shit. Dog, I can't keep this shit straight. Whenever the Cowboys played, they played and they lost because now people were saying they lost because the ref had to nudge his way in past the O-line to place the ball. They really lost because Dak Prescott decided to run up the middle of the field with 14 seconds left and no timeouts, which was just a bizarre plan. But it was an interesting game in that, man, that's not how I expected it to go. The Niners looked inconsistent, which I think was to be expected, but the Cowboys looked way more inconsistent. Both teams left a ton of points on the field. Neither team really got it going. And the Cowboys seemed so underprepared. Like the Niners' inconsistency seemed to stem from Jimmy Garoppolo, which is fine. Like he's not going to get extended there again. Like he is what he is. We've all come to accept this, but the Cowboys.
Supposedly he might actually. Who knows? But
that's fair. Who does know? But the Cowboys just seemed like they had no real plan at any point in the game. And it really showed in those last like 10 minutes.
The Mike McCarthy special, just like, hey, I got Aaron Rodgers. Hey, I got Dak Prescott. Okay, go play football.
And that's the thing. Like, even if it feels like they didn't game plan for like, all right, we're down. Because even if you take out the first 50 minutes of the game as being like, you guys know what to do, go do it. The last 10 minutes of the game is really where a guy like Aaron Rodgers shines, because he's like, I'm just going to throw this ball 80 yards in the air and someone will be there to catch it. Just you fucking watch. And that takes the decision-making out of Mike McCarthy's hands, because he's like, oh yeah, he'll just go do that. Whereas Dak Prescott apparently said to himself, I'm going to run up the middle of the field and just hope I don't get tackled.
I just came across the best statistic possibly ever. Tom Brady has more playoff wins as a Buck, 5, than the Cowboys do since their last Super Bowl.
Which is 3, right? 4. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 4 wins, in 30 years. Yeah. Wow. I'm scared.
And it's so funny because
Brady
Cowboys
also has the same amount of playoff wins versus NFC teams as Aaron Rodgers, despite spending 2 seasons in the NFC.
Wait, that makes no sense. Oh, because and the conference games against in the AFC. Yeah, that makes sense. Then his career has been like twice over Aaron Rodgers' entire fucking existence.
Well, no, it's just solely the 5 wins as a Buck, plus all of the other Super Bowls.
Oh, you mean playoff wins? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Wow, that's wild. Yeah, you gotta hate him. So the game was pretty even. Niners came out to an early 10-0 lead, and they looked unstoppable from the word go. The Cowboys never really got it together. It was not Dak's best game, even though they started force feeding him the ball. But it really wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo's best game either. So after the Niners kind of got out to an early lead, there was a little bit of back and forth, but really for the most part, it felt like the Niners were just trying to do containment and letting their defense just annihilate. Which, man, they did a really, really good fucking job. They sacked Dak Prescott 5 times that game, who ended up having a very similar line to Jalen Hurts of 43 attempts, 23 completions, 254 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also had 1 touchdown on the ground, but not a great game in the air. And then looking over at Jimmy G, not any more impressive. 25 attempts, 16 completions, 172 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, no sacks, and 67.4 quarterback rating.
Yeah. Again, like, we know Jimmy Garoppolo is not a superstar QB. We know Dak Prescott should be, but hasn't since he got hurt. I wanted so much more from both of these teams, and it's just like a shrug your shoulders of just like, I don't expect anything from the Cowboys because it's the Cowboys in the playoffs, even though I predicted them to win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I'm just happy Kyle Shanahan moved on, I guess. That's the only takeaway I have from that.
Yeah, I mean, the defenses for both teams really shown, which was nice. This is what the score of an actual defensive slugfest should be, not 0-0. 7-0 is just both teams' offenses blew hot ass and couldn't get it done. This was actually like, if you go back and watch this game again, understanding the score, like this was defense. This was a really, really fun game for defense. And that plays honestly really into the strengths of the Niners, who apparently can subsist a lot more on not going to the air than the Cowboys can. All together. All together, 25 passing attempts for Jimmy Garoppolo, and then 37 rushing attempts from the rest of the 38 total rushing plays, but one of them is a 1-yard rushing attempt from Jimmy Garoppolo. Whereas the Cowboys
running game is so good that even his wide receivers can be all pro running backs. Just the way it works.
And on the other side of the team, Dak Prescott, 43 passing attempts, and then they had a cumulative. I want you to actually guess, not counting QB runs, how many run plays the Cowboys had that game.
10.
17.
Wow.
Zeke Elliott had 12 carries. That's it. 12 for 31 yards. Tony Pollard had 4 for 14, and CD Lamb had 1 for 5. CD Lamb had 1 rush and 1 reception.
That's not great for one of your best players on offense, if not the best.
And also when your team lets up 5 sacks, I mean, 12 rushing attempts for Zeke is, his long was 9.
Oh.
Deebo Samuel's long was 26.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Deebo's a good running back.
Deebo had 10 attempts for 72 yards and 3 receptions for 38 yards. Zeke didn't have a he had 4 targets for 1 reception of 0 yards. Gee, thanks, Zeke.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
I don't know what this really means for the Cowboys. Hopefully for them, it means that they're moving on from Mike McCarthy sometimes. Did they already fire him?
No.
They should. They obviously shouldn't have hired him. Will they fire him?
I doubt it. They should, again, absolutely should, but they won't. Yeah. How long did they hold on to Jason Garrett? I mean,
but I wonder, that's what I'm saying though. I wonder if they learned the lesson of, we got to cut our losses before our Hall of Fame quarterbacks retire. Like they held on to Jason Garrett they ruined Tony Romo's career.
I mean, yes, I don't think they ever would learn their lesson though.
Do old white billionaires ever learn their lessons? Tune in at
No.
11 to find out. Yeah, I would think someone in the Cowboys front office would have the balls to go to Jerry and be like, "Listen here, you piece of shit. Fire this man."
Listen here, you piece of shit billionaire who owns my soul.
You're like 90 and gonna forget this conversation in 10 minutes, bitch. So I'm gonna talk to you however I want. I don't more people listen to this show. Anyway.
We're releasing an episode once a month.
Yeah, COVID, baby. You can only do what you can do. This will be an interesting game for the Niners coming up, which we'll get into matchups in future matchups, this weekend's matchups in a second. But this was between the Cowboys and Niners, one of the more interesting games because neither team had really hit too big of a stride. The Cowboys had the better record in the regular season. The Cowboys finished 12-5. The Niners finished 10-7. The Cowboys also play the NFC East. Man, that's not a good division. And if you just swap out 2 wins against shit ass competition for 2 losses, these are the same team record wise.
Yeah, it's like one team played in the best division in the league and one played in the worst.
Yeah, so like the record here, it is a meaningless number. And so this was bound to be interesting. And to their credit, they kept it very interesting. This game was on its toes pretty much the whole time. Cowboys kept it interesting. I'm very interested to see what the Niners end up doing heading into the next game. But again, we'll get to next games in a moment. Let's see. Games I didn't care about. Raiders Bengals. Never cared about that game. Gotta say, watch the whole thing.
Bengals fan, I cared for that reason alone. Otherwise, yeah. Genuinely, as a Steelers fan, I don't really care who wins that game. You know.
Not only that, and I know the score is pretty tight, 26-19. You know, it's a 1-score game. It never felt close.
They didn't feel it once. Yeah.
The Raiders never really felt like they got going, and the Bengals would end up having huge plays and just kind of fizzle out. So it felt like they were on the field the whole time and just dominating. Right. Actually, I have right here. Let's see, time of possession. Do I have that?
Maybe.
I must. Actually, that's way closer than I would have thought. Cincinnati 31 minutes. Vegas 28 minutes. So Cincy 32 minutes, I should say.
Incredibly close. About as close as you can get.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes off of a 50-50 split. That's pretty. I don't really know why it felt the way it did feel, but it definitely didn't feel that way. Like total yards, it honestly isn't even that. The Raiders had more yards than the Bengals. Raiders had 80 more yards than the Bengals.
It's really weird because I would have put it as I would have been like, oh yeah, the Bengals had like 100 more yards than the Raiders, you know, or whatever, maybe 150. It's like, no, less. Actually, you're incredibly wrong.
Yeah, maybe turnovers. Vegas had 2, 1 fumble, 1 pick. The Bengals had no turnovers. Maybe that has something to do with it. But watching the game, ignoring the score, it never really felt that tight of a game. From the fucking word go, it never felt tight, especially because after the end of the first quarter, it was 10-3 since Cincinnati, and Cincinnati seemed like they were rolling. So you kind of just go like, all right, this game's over. And clearly not the case necessarily, but close enough, honestly, close enough. Did not care. Did not care. Do you care about what this means for the Bengals organization or the Raiders for that matter?
Seeing as I think this is going to drastically, like Joe Burrow said it, like, hey, Bengals fans, like this is what you should expect from here on out. I think that's a huge difference for the city that by all means hasn't expected this or really thought this was a possibility for, I mean, maybe back in like the early teens when you thought that they could do something with Andy Dalton, which they never really did. Yeah, I mean, it's probably huge for the city, you know? I'm
Well,
all for the team being more competitive and, just being a team with some hope. Because really, the Browns are fun to have as the team with no hope because it's the Browns. Fuck them. That's really it. Like, I would genuinely want every other team to have the capacity to be good, you know?
I also think when you have marquee success, which I know this is a wild card game, but for a team that has not won a playoff game since 1990 fucking two, before either member of this podcast was conceived, let alone born, um, that is a marquee win. And when you have those types of moments, it can cause, it should anyway, cause your franchise or your corporation, your small business, fucking whatever, to look at the recent decisions that have been made and go, what worked that we should carry into the future? And that should be the big takeaway for the Bengals, which is, hey, we fired Marvin Lewis. He was awful. We can see that now. We drafted a young quarterback and put pieces around him. We gave him offensive line members. We gave him good we drafted a wide receiver that he played with in college.
Get as many players from the 2020 LSU national championship team as you possibly can.
In 30 years, we'll still be drafting those motherfuckers. But regardless, whatever is going on behind the scenes that we don't understand, with it has to do with clubhouse chemistry or specific play calling and understanding of what routes work for everybody, what play designs work for, all that type of shit. Hopefully should have a postmortem of the season whenever it concludes and take that away from it and build a better organization going forward. Because really that's what long-term, that's what a successful franchise, that's how it becomes what it is. You know what I mean? It's a continued period of success where you learn from the success instead of just trying to avoid failure. Which is really one of the reasons that the Jets fucking sucked for as long as they've sucked, because the only time that they really did anything good was when they had Mark Sanchez at the helm. And I don't think they ever understood that Mark Sanchez shouldn't have been at the helm. We were fluking our way into those wins. No part of that was sustainable. And then they just kept trying to chase that dragon. I'm sad.
Off the magic dragon. You had Mark Sanchez at quarterback. You should be sad. There's no happiness from that.
It's really just been dawning on me how long ago that playoff appearance was. 2010. Man, that was 12 years ago. I know.
I'm trying to think of what I was doing. I was in 7th grade.
Like, it doesn't. 12 years. Like, I just, oh my God, it kills me. It kills me inside. But hey,
is that when the Cardinals won the World Series?
2012. I thought they won
2010. Oh, 2012.
13?
You said 2012. I was thinking
2010. Sorry, it is 2010. It is 2010. I got 12 years ago, 2010 though.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
2010 World Series winner was the Giants.
Even year
bullshit. Yeah. So that's the Vegas Cincy game. Go eat some Skyline chili and I don't know, shit your brains out for like a week or whatever your preferred form of canned dysentery is.
I don't need that to do that.
All right, we got 2 matchups here left. Buffalo's Patriots, which was never a competition, and boy, did that make me happy. The Patriots could not have possibly looked worse, as Buffalo scored a touchdown on every single drive that they had.
The Cardinals won. FYI.
2011?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Because it is.
It sounds it too. I'm convinced. Yeah, the only reason for the slightly wonky score is a couple of missed extra points, but when you score fucking 6-7 touchdowns, who gives a shit? Like, who cares? The Patriots did not score in the first quarter and put up 3 combined points in the first half and got curb stomped in their fucking faces 17-47. Mac Jones had himself, honestly, not the worst day, but definitely not a good one. as he went 24 for 38, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 3 sacks, and a quarterback rating of 75.8, which compared to some of the other quarterback ratings we looked at for this playoff weekend, honestly, not horrible. The problem is no one else did him any fucking favors, including their team's defense that allowed Josh Allen to do this. Now, before I tell you how many passing attempts Josh Allen had, I want you to tell me how many passing attempts you feel like Josh Allen had with 7 touchdowns on the board.
I mean, I feel like it should be like 35, but I know it's closer to like 20, 22, 23.
25 attempts.
Okay.
How many completions?
I know I think he had what, 1 less than touchdowns, so he would have had 21.
21.
Yeah.
With 21 for 25, 5 touchdown passes, which means 20% of his attempts were touchdowns. Yeah. Means that 23.5% of his completions were touchdowns.
Say what you will about, getting a certain number of yards or getting a certain number of touchdowns or having a certain completion percentage. Anytime you have more touchdowns than incompletions, that is an excellent day. Like, that is just the pinnacle.
This is a stat line that it's impossible to cherry pick anything from because all of it's fantastic.
All of it is exactly how you want it. Yep.
Like, he had 14.6 yards per completion in the for passing. That's amazing.
He beat that. Yeah.
He had 21 completions. He had 308 yards. That's just amazing.
And he ran incredibly well.
He got 66 yards on the ground in 6 attempts. That's 11 yards per rushing attempt.
Oh, it's so fucking funny.
It's just stupid.
Like the Patriots laughed their way to the bank, along with all of us, for when they beat them throwing the ball twice without realizing, like, no, we're going to kill you now. We're just going to kill you. We're going to do it. We're going to kill you.
And it was funny because the series for these 2 teams had been split. And it's something that we probably would have talked about if we had gotten the time before wildcard weekend to talk about it, which is the Patriots beat the Bills in Buffalo, and then the Bills beat the Patriots in New England. And so here's another game in Buffalo. Series is even, and no team has shown signs of a home field advantage, which doesn't necessarily mean all that much, especially when both teams normally play in the same time zone. But hey, it's something conversationally anyway.
Yeah.
And boy, howdy, none of it fucking mattered. None of it fucking mattered.
No.
Like, at all.
Remotely. Yeah.
And, just to nail in a point from earlier about how great the Niners defense was. So Ezekiel Elliott, just reminding everyone of this stat line. Ezekiel Elliott, 12 rushes for 31 yards. A man by the name of Isaiah McKenzie had 3 rushes for 29 yards. 2 yards shy of Zeke's total in 9 fewer rushing attempts. And I don't know who this is.
Isaiah McKenzie's a wide receiver. He's the number 2 guy for Buffalo.
Oh, maybe that's why his name seems so unfamiliar to me in the running back spot. I'm trying to picture why this guy's a running back. Yeah, he is a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, that makes it so much worse.
Right?
And that, again, is a testament to how great the Niners defense played and how poorly the New England defense played, which is usually their strong point from a coaching perspective. And, man, they had nothing, no answers, man. And you know what?
Which I'll
felt
be honest,
fucking amazing.
Love to see.
Felt fucking in a regular season game. The Patriots got stomped, but it doesn't mean much. It's a regular season game. You learn, you move on. To see it in a playoff game, to not get the usual Bill Belichick bullshit of the first half sucked, but we're gonna come for your fucking shorts in the second half. No, you got your shit pushed in the second half too. Granted, by a lot less, but you still got 20 points dropped on you in the second half. Eat my balls.
Yep. It was truly a game of anyone in the NFL who watched that was happy.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely fucking happy. Patriots fans, NFC fans, like literally anyone who has ever had to play the Patriots in the last 25 years was just like, thank you.
Yeah, because even with to borrow a Seinfeld joke, I'm tired of seeing those clothes on TV. That laundry is no longer appealing to me on the television. I need different laundry on the field on my TV. I don't care that Tom Brady is not there. Fuck your laundry. This is ridiculous.
It's true. I hate fucking looking at those uniforms succeed.
I'm fucking tired of it.
They've been so good for so long. They deserve a 5-year stretch at least of being the Browns.
Oh yeah, they deserve a national heartbreak.
Right.
Listen up, you pieces of shit. I've had to deal with butt fumble for a decade because of one weird game on Thanksgiving in 2012. You can get curb stomped by the Bills in Buffalo, be sad about it, and fucking like it.
We literally have had to see Bill Belichick be the greatest coach in the history of the sport for 20 years. Let him have a 5-year stretch where he's so bad he's fired, or just run out of New England. Just
gape that
give
man's
us.
butthole.
I'm coming for Bill Belichick's butthole. It's mine, and I want it, and I will not be soft and gentle.
All right, man. That brings us to the last game that happened. It was the Monday night game, so most recent one, and this was a real toss-up, honestly, based on how these teams had played coming in. The Rams obviously played phenomenal this whole season, 13-5. Another team that really, 12-5, just missed out on getting a 1-seed spot. And the Cardinals, second in their division, started off to a 7-0 stretch. I think to start the year. Let me see there. Yeah, 7-0 to start the year. And so yeah, this was a hell of a matchup. And man, it was again a game that was just never close. I have never seen. I don't watch Cardinals games. They usually start here late. I don't care about the Cardinals. They play teams I don't usually care about. So when I hear great things about Kyler Murray's season, which I'm sure was phenomenal, I accept them as reality and then prepare to carry that into the postseason. And Kyler Murray's season, just for the record, 14 games, 3,787 passing yards. He had a completion percent of 69.2. He had 24 touchdowns on 10 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 56.8. It's QBR. Quarterback rating of 100.6. Took 31 sacks. Yeah, it's a nice season. It's not a globe shattering season, but it's a nice season.
What was his fielding stats in center field?
He DRS of fucking 22, baby. Now let me tell you what didn't go so great for Kyler Murray. That is the wild card game where he looked like the worst quarterback I've ever seen. And man, I watched Geno Smith a lot for like 4 years. It was so incredibly bad. And each I can't believe it's only 2 interceptions. I can't believe, looking at the stat line, it was only 2 interceptions. The pick 6 that he threw, oh my God. I was like dumbfounded at staring at my television in utter disbelief that a professional quarterback made that throw.
It was unbelievable. Like, I did not watch the game in real time. I know, I understand. I'm sorry. I should be better.
We have lives.
But yeah, we have lives, and holy fuck, how the fuck do you see that happening? Like, I should say, watching the highlight of it, I don't know how I could have reacted to that in live.
In real time.
Thank you. That it's just the most dumbfounded decision. Like, that is probably the same reaction I would have had to the butt fumble, of just pure shock and horror.
It happened in slow motion, man. I swear to God, it happened in slow motion. it's one of those things where it's like the world's most. It starts off as one of those plays where every football fan in America is watching it going, throw the ball, just fucking throw it, throw the ball.
Yeah.
And then you see him get sacked, and then you see the arm start to pull back, and you're like, no, don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Why? What is happening?
Safety.
Why are you making that choice?
Then you see the softest little sidearm, just gentle lob of the ball in the air, right into a linebacker's hands. And the thing is, that's why it's such a dangerous play. When you are on offense, most of your players are not at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They are 5 to, at this point, 50 yards downfield. Not literally, but you know what I mean. They're 5 to 20 yards downfield trying to get open from their defenders, whereas there's 11 defenders, only like 4 to 5 of whom might be at back in coverage. The other 6 or 7 of them are going to be up front of the line covering screenplays and trying to go into pass coverage or into quarterback pressure. Like, the odds are not in your favor, because even the dudes who are by the line of scrimmage for you are your linemen. Like, you've got maybe a running back, maybe a tight end, if you're lucky. Like, eligible receivers on offense, we're talking best case scenario, like 2 dudes. Best case scenario for the defense, we're still talking like 4 dudes. Like, odds, not good. The odds of you making that pass back to the line of scrimmage that's not a safety anyway, not good.
There are so few positive outcomes from this play. Almost none.
Yeah, I did feel bad for the kid. It looked like he was going to cry, which I was like, oh no.
How much is that from the fact that he is roughly the size of a child?
Oh, like 75% of it.
Yeah.
He's an itty bitty boy. Yeah, that was, man, and don't get me wrong, like the Rams defense is a good defense, and their quarterback pressure is very good. They still have, defensive player of the year, Aaron Donald, defensive player of every year, Aaron Donald, defensive player of our world, Aaron Donald, our millennia, our generation, really.
Why do you say the things you say?
And so I get it. You're playing on a Monday night. You're the only team. All eyes on you. First time in the playoffs, because I don't think the Cardinals made the playoffs last year. I'm just going to say they didn't. I'm not going to
I almost am certain they didn't.
I feel like they didn't, and that should count for something.
For everything, really.
That's
what
the
Josh
only
was thinking.
Yeah. I am the shadow government.
Jews do run it all.
Yeah, but it's just me. It's really just me in an office filing paperwork because no one else showed up.
Oh, sorry. So it should be the Jew runs everything.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
I've got about,
it's probably a Hebrew mistranslation, something like that.
Yeah, I've got about 100 constitutional amendments sitting on back order right now. Yeah, waiting for the time is right to sneak them through. Anyway. And it was amazing also because much like we kind of just said with the I guess the Bengals game we were just talking about, it's not like Matt Stafford had a barn burner of a day. He had a really good day, but only because he wasn't really asked to. He had 17 pass attempts. Like they didn't need him to do a lot because the Cardinals could never get their offense going. And so, they own the Rams only scored 34 points. And I say only because, man, if they cared to, they could have pushed that shit over 50. And I'm not exaggerating. Yeah. That's how bad this fucking game was. And so you look at Matt Stafford, 17 attempts, 13 completions, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 sack, quarterback rating of 154.5. Yeah, because they didn't need him to do shit. He had 4 incompletions. Kyler Murray had 2 more completions than Matt Stafford had attempts because he didn't need to do a lot. And the rest they divvied up between the running backs. Sony Michel, 58 rushing attempts. Sorry, 13 rushing attempts. Cam Akers, 17 rushing attempts. Each guy got about 55 yards. There you go.
It's tough.
What else do you need?
Um, I don't know.
And how about Odell getting his first career postseason touchdown?
I saw somewhere that he has 6 touchdowns in 9 games after having like the same amount in the last like 24 with the Browns, something like that. Something to that regard of just like insane efficiency in comparison.
He has 5 touchdowns with the Rams. He never had 5 touchdowns in a season with Cleveland.
Oh,
Altogether, between 2019, 2020, and the first 6 games of 2021 that he played with Cleveland, he had a combined 8 touchdowns. He has 6 with the Rams.
as much as we talk about not really wanting any other team to be bad, except for maybe the Patriots, I enjoy watching the Browns be bad.
They're awful. They are so incredibly awful. And this is what we talked about when that trade first happened is, look, Odell was hot shit in New York. And he acted like hot shit because he fucking was hot shit. He absolutely was.
He really was. He really was.
He goes to Cleveland.
Until he went on that fucking boat and posted that fucking picture.
Damn those Timberland boots at sea. Those boots don't belong at sea. Those are boots for the cold. Those are brick boots. Anyway, and his time in Cleveland sucked ass, and people were like, "Oh, Odell's just a whiny bitch." But it's like, why would we believe that Cleveland has their shit together? Why would we naturally not assume Cleveland is the problem? And lo and behold, Cleveland was the problem. Cleveland was definitely the problem.
When was the last time Cleveland wasn't the problem?
So far, for the rest of the regular season, because I'm not going to spend time combining all these stats between regular season and the one postseason game. You can do that shit yourself if you feel like it.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
OBJ's time in LA has been remarkably similar in a lot of ways to his time in Cleveland, but just touch fucking better. He has a 56% completion or catch percent with the Rams. Never had that in a season in Cleveland. Never. His yards per game is about the same with the Rams as it was before he left Cleveland, 38.1 to 38.7. His receptions per game is up 3.4 versus 2.8. Again, the touchdown number he hasn't had 5 in a season since 2018. His last year with the Giants.
Oh my God.
And it's also wild because he's not being asked to be a wide receiver 1. Like, no. It's not like they're even force feeding him the ball, like in the way that the Browns, you would expect them to, because he was their wide receiver 1. He is putting up these numbers as a wide receiver 2 at best.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Best.
And it's just goes to show how important just having a good offensive coordinator and just having a quarterback capable of giving the ball accurately and consistently is. It's everything. Absolutely everything.
Yeah. And obviously, having a guy like Cooper Kupp makes it easier for you to pick up a little bit of extra, targets or receptions or whatever, because there's more coverage being drawn elsewhere. But also, Odell could have been the guy in Cleveland. They just didn't figure it out. So
close, yeah.
I'm enjoying the storyline. I'm happy Odell's happy.
It's hard not to.
It is. Fuck Cleveland. Shitty ass sitting. Imagine the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum one day was just like, oh, we got to leave. It's too depressing and no one comes. We're going to a much better city. We're going to Detroit.
I love it, but
also Detroit, way better music city.
Detroit, Rock City.
That shit is just Motown Central, baby. Anyway, Whatever. Like, I mean, literally, but whatever. So that is where we stood with the matchups. All in all, a very lopsided weekend of football. Not a lot of like close and interesting games. The Rams Cardinals game, I think of the blowouts, was the most fun to watch because of how bad the Cardinals offense performed. It was like, this is a dumpster fire I cannot peel my eyes away from. Whereas watching the Patriots get blown out, it's like my hate boner can only stay erect for so long. So it's like I'm good. I'm just gonna look at the final score eventually. But by and large, a lot of lopsided matchups. Did you have a favorite game of any of these?
Not the Steelers one. Of like I would say the Rams, just because of how the game ended up turning out. I didn't really actually watch it, so I can't really say that. I guess the Bengals game. I guess I really want to say the Steelers because that would have meant we won and all of that, but I can't. So yeah,
I don't
I'll
think
go
any of these
Bengals.
games were slogs. Like I don't think any of these games
No,
were
of
a
course not.
chore to watch.
No, never, not even a little.
All right, so let's get into this weekend's matchups. The first game will be Saturday at 4:30, which will be Cats Tits. It'll be Bengals Titans. Man,
that's a movie sequel I never knew I wanted.
Oh, to Cats?
Cats 2. Cats Tits.
All the buttholes. Only buttholes, only buttholes.
We mastered animating cat buttholes. Cat nipples. We're working on it.
The technology is here. You want to see the X-rated version of Cats?
No. I don't want to see any version of Cats.
I've seen Cats. It's not good.
No,
it's not fun bad either. It's just bad. Anyway, Bengals Titans. I do not care. Do you care? Like who wins? I mean, like I'll watch the game and I'll be happy about it, but I just don't care who wins this.
I think the Bengals win. I think they do.
Oh, I'm sure. I think the Bengals win too. I just don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, I kind of want the Bengals to win because again, I live with a Bengals fan. That helps me out a bit. But yeah, otherwise I don't give a shit.
I think I would like the Bengals to win because I like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase more than I like Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry.
Well, yeah, I don't like Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, so absolutely.
The second game on Saturday will be the 8:15 game, which will be Niners Packers, which will be an interesting game.
Oh boy.
So this will be the Packers debut.
That's actually really cool. Yeah, that's gonna be a really fun game. Actually, that might be my most looked forward to game of the week.
This will be a very interesting game. Two younger head coaches.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, who has been a regular season stud for literally the last decade and has been incapable of reaching another Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against a team that is trying their best to keep their playoff window alive.
I fucking love that description so much. Well, they're trying their best. What a fun time we're having. I did miss these 2 weeks. It's great.
Yeah, I guess really this game will be most interesting because while the Packers defense of the past couple years has definitely been better than the Packers defense of the past 10 years, it's still not the world's greatest defense. So there might be some room for Jimmy G and the Niners offense to find some holes, whereas the Niners defense is very good and the Packers offense is very good. So I suspect that chances are this will be a battle of field position for the Niners and Rodgers containment versus just Aaron Rodgers doing what he does.
If Aaron Rodgers is in fact Aaron Rodgers, it'll be a fun game. If he's not Aaron Rodgers, it won't be a fun game.
It will depend entirely.
That's just the Packers.
It will depend entirely on how much ivermectin Aaron Rodgers had before the game.
Oh God! It really all comes down to whether or not he gets vaccinated. Because if he doesn't, we've seen Aaron Rodgers can be the guy. If he does, well, his career's over. Just have to speak the truth.
We would be so happy. I wonder if he listens to the Joe Rogan podcast to get himself hyped up before the game. Oh yeah, I'm really fucking smart. I'm so fucking smart.
I've never wanted to
listen
know
to books
the
on tape.
answer.
I'm so smart.
I've never wanted to know an answer to a question less than if Aaron Rodgers listens to Joe Rogan before a game. Just like watching him on the field warming up, just knowing it's Joe Rogan talking about getting high and doing PCP.
Rodgers just shoving elk meat up his ass. Yeah. So that game-wise, it'll be a very interesting game. I think no matter what. I'm not sure who I'm rooting for yet. I was rooting for the Niners in the last game because why would you root for the Cowboys? But
exactly, yeah.
Who's to say? I'll probably end up rooting for the Niners again. I like the underdog. Then we have this is actually probably my most anticipated game. The 3:00 game on Sunday, Rams Bucks.
Will Tom Brady get his shit pushed in? I hope so.
I only want Aaron Donald to like squish Brady like an itty bitty bug, and then Brady to retire.
Just
like I want Brady to get sacked by Aaron Donald so many times he Antonio Browns himself out of the league. Undresses in the end zone in the third quarter and is like, "Fuck this shit. I'm done. I'm gonna go play hockey with the Oilers. Like I'm out of here, man."
I didn't know I wanted that real bad. Just Tom Brady literally making a business decision to just retire on just an MVP caliber season.
That would be something.
Right? Oh my God. Imagine winning MVP after retiring mid-game.
It'd be pretty special. I'll tell you that.
You wouldn't see that again.
And then
actually,
Brady would technically have retired before Big Ben, because I'm willing to bet Big Ben doesn't put his retirement paperwork in until after the season ends. And that'd be a fun way to go out.
I didn't know I wanted that. I want it, but I want it real bad now. Holy shit. Big Ben survives Tom Brady. That's all you have to write. The headlines. They write the themselves. Story,
man. Yeah, it really does. But this will be an interesting game. Again, any team that has Tom Brady doing anything is bound to be successful, which is very annoying and no one likes. But the Rams defense is very good. And the Rams offense really, didn't have to do anything and scored 30 points last game. So, this is really what playoff football is all about, which is two teams performing at their peak, just squaring off. The Bucs defense has been phenomenal. Todd Bowles is absolutely deserving of another head coaching job. Head coaching stints with the Jets shouldn't count, honestly. They should not count against you.
Except for Adam Gase.
He's his own guy. He doesn't count. He's not even a real person. That's just a machine that was masquerading as an NFL head coach. That man became cocaine.
Has there ever been an opinion of Peyton Manning's that has been worse? No.
Not that I know of, but honestly, given Peyton Manning's ethnicity and background geographically, not sure I want to find out more. I'm sure there are worse opinions. I don't even know what they are.
There's some stuff that went down at Tennessee that came out during the documentary. That
Peyton, what are these robes?
Gets cold in Indiana and Denver. Just need full body covering when you go.
Oh, I know. In school in Tennessee, big Nathan Bedford Forrest conventions out there. Just had to dress the part. I got a lot of posters for D.W. Griffith in here. Yeah, I know. Very specific racial references. All right. Fucking what were we talking about? Oh, right. This
not
game.
D.W. Griffith.
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna birth that nation all over you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Miss us?
It's definitely been a wild one. But this is really the marquee matchup, especially considering, the team's recent histories, which is the Bucs defending champions and the Rams, who have been a disappointment, really, ever since they got good. because they haven't been able to seal the deal.
Yeah.
And now they put together all these pieces. They look way better. They just won their division. They've got Matt. They made the big flashy acquisition of Matt Stafford. They made the big flashy acquisition of Odell Beckham Jr. And yeah, these are a bunch of people who it's like, oh, that'd be cool 3 years ago. But still, when you make acquisitions,
Still got a pulse.
yeah, when you sign people that have big fucking names, you get expectations even if their prime is past. Because they used to be good, and sometimes they still are really good. Just like these two players are showing that they can be good. So, because honestly, if the Bucks lose, they just won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady's coming back next year. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. Who gives a shit? Yeah.
If the Rams lose, it feels like it would be a lot more severe for an LA fan.
If the Rams lose, you severely have to question what it is we're doing here. What is it that we are shooting for? Because you have no draft capital. You have, at this point, you have to have run out of cap space, right? What are we failed, and we need to right this ship. And you either keep pushing all your chips in, even though we don't know where they keep getting chips from, or you just need to sell for draft capital and just, we fucked up, we failed. It's not meant for us. We got to start over.
And you can bank on Matt Stafford depending on how he looks in this game, but he's about to head into his age 34 season. And you can still keep being a good quarterback after the age of 30, but quarterbacks not typically age like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have. Yeah. And it might feel like that's how a quarterback is supposed to age, because we just saw them both do it. Or even, honestly, quarterbacks usually don't even age the way that fucking Phil, what's his face? God damn it, he's been, huh?
Phil Mickelson.
No, what's his fucking? He was with the Colts. God damn it. And the Chargers.
Oh, Philip Rivers.
Thank you. Oh my God, that name just fucking escaped me. He hasn't even been out of the league for like 12 months. Philip Rivers. Even the way Philip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger have aged, most quarterbacks don't age that well. Yeah. So really, it's not even just a question of we've used up our draft capital, we've used up our cap space, all that shit. It's like, now the players we have to worry about how rapidly they will show their age. And I'm not saying it's like necessarily 100% win or bust, but every year that this goes on where the Rams don't get it done in the playoffs, it adds on to that feeling.
And by all means, I mean, yes, Tom Brady's, we already know he's the exception, not the rule, but it's not like there's ever been anyone else who's kind of come close to, like, nobody's come close to what Tom Brady's done. That's just not a thing that has ever happened before.
And don't send those football players from the 50s if you're listening to this. Fuck yourself. Right. The 50s aren't real. The 50s were segregated. Eat my balls, the 50s.
And then throw the ball past the line of scrimmage then. So fuck off. I know that's not, specifically true. I don't want to hear it. I don't care.
Running backs were halfbacks. That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Halfback
the 3/5 compromise, right? They really got shafted back then. God. I don't know where to go from there.
It was so bad.
I don't know where to go from here.
Oh God. Yeah. It's a game with a lot of stakes. Honestly, it's interesting. It's not the 8:00 game on Sunday, because the 8:00 game, the 6:00 game is Bills Chiefs. So that'll be the final matchup of the weekend. And I don't care. This will probably be a good game. I'm sure both teams have played very well. Both teams' offenses put on a fucking display last week. Both teams' defenses put on a display last week. I don't care. These feel like they've been the favorite children of the AFC for the past 2 seasons. So it feels like Darling facing off against Darling. And boy, howdy, I don't care. I do not care at all.
I don't either, even remotely.
Nope.
I
would have made this.
Steelers are out. Game. It's the point of the postseason. Well, yeah, that I would too. But it's the point of the postseason where like my team's out of it. So I'm just kind of here for the ride now, like I don't really care what happens all that much. I just kind of want whatever happens to be exciting.
Just looking for good
And
games.
not Tom Brady.
I
Good
always end up
games
watching
by
so
non
much
Tom
more
Brady.
football during the playoffs than I do during the regular season because the Jets always play at 1 o'clock and then it ruins my day.
Yeah. Hmm.
And during the postseason, I can look at teams doing poorly and be like, "Ha ha! Fuck you! Fuck you! This does not affect me at all."
Honestly, for me, I think I watch more in the postseason because, like, in the regular season, if I watch the Steelers game, sure, I'm going to watch that every week. If I don't watch any other games, because there's what, like 15 other games that are on. If I miss one more, it doesn't matter because of how many games I'm missing already. If I miss a game in the playoffs when there's only 4 games on this week, it's like, all right, well, I missed a huge chunk of everything that's going on. There's just less football to choose from. So I was just watching more football naturally because like it's like with um football versus like baseball. Like if I watch a game of baseball a day, that's great. I'm never gonna watch three baseball games in a single day during the regular season because holy shit, why would you ever? Unless there's literally nothing to do because there's 162 games for each team. You're just watching to watch at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just watching because you don't own like a radio.
Is
Like
that
you're just
your fallback when you're bored? It's just a radio.
you're just watching because you don't have a Spotify account, like or a Hulu or something. Like, yeah.
How old are you?
All right, fuck you. All right, no one came here. I don't want the Spanish Inquisition. We've been through this already.
Did you expect it though?
No one ever expects it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think there's really. Is there any other big drama going on in the NFL outside of playoff shit? There's nothing I can think of at the moment. I know Bruce Arians is getting fined $50K for slapping a safety on the back of the head like a fucking idiot. I don't have anything creative to say about it. He should not have done that.
Yeah, I feel like no one is on the side of Bruce Arians shouldn't have gotten fined. I'm sure Bruce Arians is fine with it.
He's contesting it, so yeah, he's yeah.
God damn it, Bruce.
It's one of those things where it's like he's a football coach in his 70s. He obviously has an old school. He's wrong. Like I'm not trying to excuse his behavior,
Matter,
but it's like I'm not surprised by this.
Yeah, otherwise I got nothing. I mean,
Brian Flores getting fired.
We have not recorded in a while.
Where the fuck did that come from?
Why the fuck? Why the fuck?
What? All right. So my conspiracy theory, if I can just drop this for a moment, is Brian Flores got fired and then Joe Judge got fired from the Giants. And my conspiracy theory is that the Giants were not going to fire Joe Judge.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brian Flores got fired and they were like, ooh, that's one sexy bitch. And we're like, we're going to take this Bronx native and put him right back in the city and give him one sweet gig. And that's what they're in the middle of now. That's my conspiracy theory.
If it wasn't for the fact that Brian Flores has just an unnatural affection towards Deshaun Watson, I would be like, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's, a good idea. But like, I feel like there's no way he would go to any other team but the Texans, because otherwise he's just going to try and trade for him anyway. I don't know.
The Giants are probably drafting a quarterback, so.
Yeah, but there's no quarterback that I'd want anywhere close to how much I would want purely on the field Deshaun Watson.
I understand. However, Deshaun Watson playing in the NFL again is a suspect case. The Giants are a classier organization than the Texans. I don't know what that necessarily means, but everyone always says it. And honestly, it's really good job security. The Giants are not quick to fire coaches, and you get a rookie quarterback, which usually also brings about some job security. look at Adam Gase. He should not have
Yeah, I
gotten 2
guess.
years, and he did.
Yeah. Touche.
But anyway, the fact that he got fired in the first place is mind-blowing.
Agreed. Yeah.
I mean, clearly there must be some organizational differences that resulted in that. I'm not trying to justify it in a real sense. I'm trying to make sense of it and why they would even consider this an option. But whatever that organizational difference possibly could have been, it is not evident from a fan perspective.
It's one of those things where, God, I hate how often I say it's one of those things, but I think it's fine if it truly was a cultural fit that just wasn't going to work. If you're a franchise capable of consistently finding someone to replace him or being able to do something with it and not just, we'll see what the fuck happens because we just can't make it work with Brian Flores. We'll have to find somebody else. I just don't have faith that the Dolphins are going to be able to do anything to fix it or to right the ship. And I don't think they're going to be able to ever do better than Brian Flores.
No, they are not. They made the playoffs this year, which they had no expectation to do on the back of a 7-game win streak. I know they started 0-7. Fucking who cares? They still made the playoffs and they axed them. I mean, and this has been widely discussed in the fallout from this. He was one of the very startlingly few black coaches in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, there's one left, so should tell you all you need to know about how diverse they are.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking just non-white, like not even black, just non-white. Mike Tomlin,
Ron Rivera,
Robert Saleh, Ron Rivera.
Yeah,
that's it. That's what 8% of the league.
Math is hard. I'm not going to do it.
That's plenty fair. It doesn't make any. It doesn't make any sense. And yeah, the NFL is amending the Rooney Rule up this upcoming season so that you have to interview at least 2 people of color, or it might be specifically black people, for head coaching positions and for front office positions. But man, I don't think that's going to be enough. I don't even know what enough looks like at this point. I mean, this is absolute insanity that we're even at this point. There's one black head coach. That's it. How? This is a black league.
I don't know how to give you an answer that you're going to like.
I know you're not. I know you have no answers for this bullshit. It's just wild to witness. You look at every other sport and you see players who go on to become managers and coaches. And you see progress. I mean, like even, dude, baseball has now a woman who will be managing a minor league team for an affiliated team. They're branching out of even just the player and execs frame, and that's baseball. I'm not trying to give them too much credit because they do not deserve it, but they're even starting to make those transitions. Football can't even get their own players, or is refusing to, and is blocking access to their own players becoming coaches. Who is going to know these things better than former players or the black coaches that are in the league today not getting promoted? How is Eric Bieniemy not have a head coaching job? Todd Bowles is probably going to end up getting a new head coaching job, which he fucking deserves. But I mean, what? We're going to go back to 2 guys? Even in a world where Brian Flores gets a new job, Todd Bowles gets a new job, and Eric Bieniemy gets promoted somewhere. I mean, we're still talking 4 coaches? It's 32 teams. I don't know the exact numbers of the proportionality of the race breakdown in the NFL, but I'm willing to bet the black population is pretty fucking high and play a lot of positions that they could carry that knowledge into a coaching position for. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. And I know you don't have any answers. I'm just whining. I hate it. But if you had to exclude the Texans and the Giants, where would you expect to see Brian Flores go? Because he's got to get another head coaching job after the season, especially with the
absolutely.
dearth of talent in the pool. Right?
Chicago.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah,
I like that.
think
I
he
like that.
goes
Actually, I like that one a
Chicago.
lot.
Maybe Denver, young quarterback, historically defensive team.
Yeah.
No, good offensive weapons, I would think. That might be more of an attractor for Brian Flores there than defense for some reason. Yeah, I mean, they'd be getting a rookie QB. They already have a bunch of weapons there at all the other skill positions on offense. I could see that being enticing.
Well, wherever he goes, he'll be strongly focused on, especially based against however Miami does next season, because that's going to be the conversation. Like we talk about anytime there's a big time move like this, like we just talked about with OBJ leaving Cleveland and heading for Los Angeles. It's the same type of thing. It's going to be, how does that guy do in his new gig, and how does the guy you're replacing him handle filling in? So we'll see. I do not have hopes for Miami, which is good for my fandom. But yeah, they're a mess. So, got anything else for the NFL?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see anything else that really fucking matters. Yeah. Whatever. All right, so then let's briefly talk about MLB shit. There's not been a lot of news. There's been almost no news, but MLB front offices sent out a new proposal to the MLBPA. It was not very good. I figured we would chit chat, talk about it for just a brief moment because it's interesting, not good, but interesting. Here are some of the key points that were brought up in their newest proposal. Per John Heyman, raising the minimum salary and making more money available to Super 2 players, a subset of players who qualify for arbitration 4 times rather than the usual 3 based on their service time. Now, who cares? So basically what this is they heard the complaint of, we're not paying the young dudes enough. And really that is, actually, it's a level further. We're not paying minor leaguers enough. They hear as, we're not paying the young players enough, which they then translated to, we're not paying the players people know the names of and care about enough. And so instead of ending up with things like minor league salaries increasing in a meaningful way in this proposal, it's really minimum salary and making more money available to good players who get more arbitration because they have talent and get called up a little sooner.
I'm at the point where I'm sick of these bullshit half-assed attempts to, oh, here's, an offer, accept it. This is what, we think is fair. It's like, no, you don't. You don't think this is fair whatsoever. So why are you trying to make us feel like it is? Because it's not. We know it's not. Nobody thinks it is. Fuck off. Yeah, that's all I got there. Yeah.
Because we gotta, this is not about good players who are already making their money. Like that's where the I don't know if it's a mental barrier or just, this willingness to not see, which really is what it is. Because the MLBPA, from what I understand, is very likely not going in there saying we need our Super 2s to get paid more. They're going in there saying that the working conditions for minor leaguers and for young guys is horrible, and they're getting paid destitute wages. And giving Super 2 players, because if you're at the point where you're doing arbitration, even if you're a Super 2 player, even if you're not a Super 2 player, that means that you've still gotten paid league minimum for 2 years to some extent, which league minimum is like $680,000. And then in arbitration, you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars from that. That's not the problem, right? Obviously, that has its own issues. I'm not trying to fully write off the arbitration system as being totally cool and no problems at all. But that's not the issue that this would be addressing.
No.
So there's that. which obviously probably didn't go over well. This next one's a super fun one. MLB offers owners a potential solution to service time manipulation by saying if a highly ranked prospect within the top 150 on prospect lists plays a full year and finishes top 5 for a major award like MVP, Cy Young, or Rookie of the Year, his team will get a bonus draft pick. So the idea here is that a complaint that players have is that MLB holds back good players who could be making an immediate impact today. And so MLB's solution would be, all right, you go ahead and play those guys when you should be, instead of manipulating their service time, keeping them in the minors for longer, and so they don't hit arbitration or free agency for longer. And in exchange, if they do as well as you could possibly theoretically hope they would, and end up being a top 5 player at their position, we'll give you a draft pick on top of the fact that they just finished as a top 5 player in their position. So that you can make up for the fact that you just maybe lost like a few $100,000 worth of profits from paying their increased salary.
So what you're telling me is it's all bullshit.
Yeah. In the worst way. It makes absolutely no sense. So really all this is rewarding owners for making their teams better, and the players in an aggregate sense get nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Which is
a guy who should have gotten called up.
New.
Yeah, a guy who should have gotten called up anyway will only get called up because the owners have a reason to layer on the benefits of calling him up. Really, the player, which again will only affect how many players per team? Max 2?
Yeah.
Like max. We're talking at most 60 players here. Again, not the problem needing to be solved. The next one, there's not a lot of these, so don't worry. We're not going to be spending a lot of time on this. Next one is adjustment to the league's previously proposed draft lottery system, which I don't have what the tweaks are here, but I do have some other points within here, which is, oh no, those are the ones I already read, actually. Never mind. So I don't know what that tweak would be. But again, the draft lottery system does not feel like the problem. So.
No, it's just, I don't know why. I guess because they want the leverage. I was going to ask why they would even be focusing on something like that, and it's because, well, they don't want to focus on the actual issues at hand. Of course.
CBS does have this little nifty side-by-side for MLB versus MLBPA proposals. Just real quick, there's just 5 of them. MLB wants to gradually raise the luxury tax threshold to $220 million by 2026, whereas the MLBPA wants it raised to $245 million. No year on the side, so I'm going to assume that's immediate. Raising it to 220 by 2026 is fucking stupid. I mean, inflation alone will make that less than it is today very, very quickly. So I do not see the point.
No, I don't either.
Right. Oh my God. Right now it's 210 million. So they're going to need 4 years to stretch it out another $10 million.
Sure.
That's insane.
Yeah, why not?
I knew it was around 200, but oh my God, fuck you. Wow, that's insane. Next one, MLB proposes a pay-for-play arbitration system and free agency for all at age 29 and a half. MLBPA proposes free agency at 5 years of service time and age 29 and a half, or 6 years of service time, whichever comes first. So this probably isn't all that different from each other. I would think that lowering free agency from 6 years to 5 years, definitely a step in the right direction. Having an age limit also definitely helpful. So that all players hit free agency by the age 30. That's very nice. It should probably be a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's a
Nice.
step in the right direction, but it's not a radical step in the right direction. So however slow they want progress to be, who knows? But we're not going to have a Randy Wilkins type system with this type of bargaining. But this one, it seems that they're actually relatively close on. Next one, MLB proposes eliminating draft pick compensation for free agents. MLBPA is proposing service time bonuses for all-star game selections, awards, etc. I don't really see how those two things quite line up. But
yeah, again, it's like, all right, cool. So the top guys get money. Got it.
Yeah, MLBPA
Not
side,
really at all
wow.
with the issues.
I guess that's really for, again, like, do you have a rookie who makes an all-star game? Maybe they'll count that as an extra, I don't know, X number of months of service time or a year of service. Who fucking to shorten the clock? So if they call it a year just to make it easy, if you make an all-star game your second year up, instead of having to wait 3 more years to hit free agency, I guess you would wait two more years. Who is my assumption? I don't know. Again, not quite the issue I want to see solved, but I guess again that's something. Getting rid of the compensation picks for free agents leaving is actually a good thing. I'd
like to hear your opinion on
it. This is a first reaction to it, but it takes away rewarding teams for just letting players go they have no sincere attempt about keeping. You know, like why would I give a player a 3rd round pick? Sorry, why would I give a team a 3rd round pick for letting their free agents go?
Yeah, all right, touche.
Because oftentimes we see teams game this all the time by extending a qualifying offer to a player that is never going to take the qualifying offer because they're much, much better than that. But the team didn't feel like paying for that player. So when the player doesn't accept the qualifying offer and goes somewhere else, that team will get a draft pick as a form of compensation. Even though the player never intended on signing that offer, the team never thought the player actually would. They just want to make sure they got their pick, because why wouldn't you take a free 3rd round pick? And that would happen every single year.
How many 3rd round picks is there like end up being? If every team gets a 3rd round pick.
I mean, NFL does it the same way. The 3rd round is the biggest round, volume wise. Yeah. It's where all their comp picks go too.
Yeah, but like there's only ever like 10 that get given out.
Yeah, the qualifying offer doesn't go out to because not every team has a player worth more than 18 mil. That is
also
on the cusp of
touche. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, it was a shock when Noah Syndergaard did. So
yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, last one here is MLB is proposed. Oh, sorry, there's 2 more. MLB proposes expanding to a 14-team postseason. MLBPA wants a 12-team postseason. Right now, we are at 10 teams, 5 from each league, the 3 division winners and 2 wild cards. So the MLBPA proposal will be 3 division winners, 3 wild cards. The MLB's position on it, would be 3 division winners and 4 wild cards, which is really something. I would absolutely not be in favor of that. That feels insane. 50% of the league gets into the playoffs. That's ridiculous. But again, in terms of what's going to be bickered about, this feels like one of the smaller things.
Yeah.
Last thing is MLB proposes draft lottery for the top 3 picks. As of right now, there is no lottery. And MLBPA is proposing draft lottery with a market size component, which I actually hate that. Fuck your market size component. Make the owners more rich. Make people sell the team if they're not spending money on their teams. That shouldn't be a fact. If I become a billionaire tomorrow for some reason, like Jeff Bezos dies and left me his fortune, right? And it's like Joshua Tracy gets all of my money. I could buy the Rays as a Jersey resident. And the fact that the Rays are in Tampa would have nothing to do with my net worth.
Mhm.
It's all dude. I don't understand why there's this concept of market size when it has anything to do with anything other
Where
than
you get your money.
For like attendance. It will matter because more populated areas should have higher turnout ratios. And I was going to say something else. I forget what it was. It shouldn't have, like, not every team owner can't be from that area or makes their living solely from owning the baseball team. That's the thing. Like, no MLB owner, or I'll caveat say, if there's any, it's got to be horribly few, make their money strictly from owning their team.
Right. I don't get what their incentive is at the end of the day. Like, why are you pushing this for the owners?
Pushing what?
Like,
the market size component?
Yeah.
I have no, that's what I'm saying. It feels very owner, like, in favor of the owners than it does in favor of the I don't know how that helps the players.
Does it?
I
Does it ever?
No. I mean, if anything, it's going to send more good players to smaller market teams that will just trade them for nothing and will probably cheap out on their minor league living expenses.
So status quo is unchanged.
That's what I'm saying. Like, address the major concerns first, like not having your prospects live in fucking squalor. And then maybe you can address the market size competition based issues. And again, wouldn't you rather have, if you could, in a perfect world, trade out owners who didn't feel like spending money for owners who did feel like spending money and had that capital? Would you not do that? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't see why that can't be on the table. If I'm the MLBPA, that's the argument I'm saying. I'm like, why would you have an owner who doesn't want to spend money on their team? There's 22 owners out here who love spending money on their baseball teams. Why are we going to get fucked in the ass by these 8 jackasses? That'd be my talk. But I'm also not very smart.
No, we're not. Why are we still working here, people? Why are we still sending out work emails?
Oh, because some people really hate their families.
Touché.
So that's where it stands. Again, there's no real updates here. The MLBPA rejected this proposal like immediately. MLB obviously wants to show the concept that more money will be issued to players, but again, they're not addressing the issue because they're selecting a very small group of players and saying those guys will get more money. And then everyone else will be like, what about everybody else? And MLB will be like, shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch.
Why are you talking?
Yeah. Who let you in here? So yeah, it's not arguing in good faith or negotiating in good faith, I should say. So,
which should that ever be expected?
Not expected, but hoped for.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, that's all I got. That's all I think is really going down. You got anything else?
No, God, no. I have nothing. I never have anything.
That's true. You're a colossal waste of fucking matter.
Touche. You and my
I've
mom
never seen a more useless clump of carbon.
I've looked at my own shit. That's really the only thing that ever comes close. The most useless thing I produce is the only thing more useless than me as a whole.
The most useless thing I produce is profit for my overlords. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. Thanks for having us back, inviting us into your home. If you'd like to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. If you'd like to follow Corwin on Twitter, you can do so at Corwin Haller. If you'd like to follow myself on Twitter, you can do so at Joshua D. Tracy. If you'd like to send emails to the show, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And until Monday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.